First story is The Forest That Is One Tree. Deep in the Fish Lake National Forest of Utah, there lies a sprawling grove of quaking aspen trees that hides a massive secret. To a hiker walking through it, it looks like a standard forest made up of over 47,000 individual white trunks. But your eyes are lying to you. This is not a forest of many trees. It is actually a single colossal living organism. Scientists call it pando, a Latin word meaning I spread, and it challenges everything we think we know about individuality in nature. Every single trunk you see is genetically identical, a clone connected underground to the others by a massive, labyrinthine root system. Think of the trees not as siblings, but as stems growing from the same giant creature hiding just beneath the soil. You can see this connection most clearly in the fall. Unlike other forests that change colour randomly, Pando turns gold all at once. Weighing in at an estimated 13 million pounds, Pando is the heaviest living organism on the planet, dwarfing the blue whale. It is also ancient. While an individual trunk might only live for 100 years, the root system has been alive for thousands of years. Some estimates suggest Pando started growing at the end of the last ice age, silently watching humanity rise from the Stone Age. When the wind blows through the valley, the leaves tremble together, sounding like a million tiny whispers from the same voice. But after surviving for millennia, this sleeping giant is currently in danger of disappearing within our lifetime. The problem is that Pando is shrinking. Old trunks are dying of natural causes, but new stems aren't replacing them. Mule deer and cattle have discovered that young aspen sprouts are nutritious and delicious, and they eat them before they can mature. Essentially, Pando has become a forest of old men, with no children. Without new growth, the root system will eventually starve. Conservationists are now fighting to save it, erecting tall fences to keep the grazers out and allow the next generation to rise. Recent aerial photography shows promise, with patches of young green trees finally breaking through the undergrowth again. Pando is a reminder that nature is often more complex and deeply interconnected than it appears on the surface. It stands as a testament to resilience, a single life that has weathered history simply by holding on to itself. Long after we are gone, hopefully, Pando will still be there, spreading its roots through the silence of the mountains.
Second story, The Sky That Split in Two. In the early hours of September 1859, gold miners in the Rocky Mountains woke up and started preparing breakfast, convinced it was morning. But it wasn't the sun rising. It was the middle of the night, and the sky above them had turned a terrifying blood-red color. Witnesses described the atmosphere as appearing to be on fire, with great arches of light making it look as if the sky had physically split in two. This was the Carrington event, the most powerful geomagnetic storm in recorded history, and it started with one man looking at the sun. English astronomer Richard Carrington saw two brilliant patches of white light erupt from a massive group of sunspots. He had just witnessed a massive coronal mass ejection, a cannonball of plasma launched directly at Earth at millions of miles per hour. Usually, these storms take days to arrive. This one was so fast it crossed the void of space in just 17 hours. When it hit, the results were impossible to ignore. Auroras, usually reserved for the poles, were seen in Cuba, Jamaica, and Hawaii. The light was so bright that people in the northeastern United States could read newspapers at 2 o'clock in the morning without a candle. Nature was thrown into chaos. Birds began to sing, and roosters crowed, tricked into believing the red sky was dawn. But for the Victorian world, the most terrifying effects weren't in the sky, they were in the wires. The primitive internet of the day, the telegraph system, was overwhelmed by the massive electrical current induced by the storm. Sparks showered from the machines, shocking operators and setting telegraph paper on fire. In a bizarre twist, some operators found they could unplug the batteries and send messages using only the electricity from the sky. In 1859, this was a curiosity and a minor disruption. If the Carrington event happened today, it would be an apocalypse. Our modern world is wrapped in a fragile web of electric grids and satellites that are defenseless against a storm of that magnitude. Massive transformers would melt, causing global blackouts that could last for months or even years. GPS would fail, the internet would vanish, and the financial systems of the world would grind to a complete halt. We narrowly missed a similar storm in 2012. It missed Earth by just 9 days of our orbit. The sky split in two once before to warn us. The question isn't if it will happen again, but when. Third story, the year without a summer. Imagine waking up on a morning in July to see your breath misting in the air and frost covering the window pane. This wasn't a dream. It was 1816, the year history remembers as the year without a summer. Across North America and Europe, crops failed, rivers froze, and people panicked, thinking the end of the world had arrived. But the cause of this global misery wasn't supernatural. It had happened a year earlier, on the other side of the world. In April 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia erupted with the most violent volcanic explosion in recorded history. It blasted millions of tons of dust, ash, and sulfur dioxide straight into the stratosphere, forming a veil around the entire planet. This volcanic veil blocked out the sun, dropping global temperatures and disrupting weather patterns everywhere. In New England, farmers watched in horror as heavy snow fell in June, killing corn crops and freezing birds mid-flight. In Europe, incessant cold rain caused rivers to flood, leading to the worst famine of the 19th century. Starving populations rioted for bread, and the price of oats skyrocketed, making it impossible to feed horses. Yet amidst this darkness, the gloomy weather sparked incredible human creativity that shapes our world today. In Switzerland, a group of writers, including Mary Shelley and Lord Byron, were trapped indoors by the constant storms. To pass the time, they challenged each other to write ghost stories. From that dark summer, Mary Shelley created Frankenstein. Meanwhile, in Germany, with horses dying from lack of food, an inventor named Karl Dreis needed a new way to get around. He invented the Laufmaschine, the direct ancestor of the modern bicycle, because nature had taken away the horse. Even the art world changed. The high levels of volcanic ash in the atmosphere created spectacular, vibrant red sunsets. Painters like J.M.W. Turner captured these eerie skies, leaving us visual evidence of the atmosphere's chemistry. By 1817, the ash finally settled and the temperatures returned to normal, but the world was different. The year without a summer reminds us how fragile our climate is and how a single geological event can rewrite human history. From bicycles to horror novels, the echoes of that frozen summer are still with us today.